into the hands of Sexton. Takes it around Kyrie, loses the ball. Scooped up by Harden, no rush. 5 seconds, 4 seconds, shot clock turned off. Kyrie lost it, and a whistle out front. Foul is called. It is Kyrie Irving with 1.5 on the clock.
I want you to watch the left elbow of Kyrie. Gets Sexton right in the face.
No. Dotson tosses in. Sexton, his team down by 3 for the tie. He's got it! 1.2 to play! Collin Sexton! We are all knotted up at Trigger Man. Tied up at 127. Durant, turnaround for the win. Just short.
I know what you guys are going to be saying. No, this channel isn't a Brooklyn Nets channel officially. I just felt like there was a lot of interesting Brooklyn Nets analysis to bring to you guys, and especially in this video, since I know a lot of you guys didn't have access to the Brooklyn Nets versus Cleveland Cavaliers game, just so you could see the debut of Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and Kevin Durant, I felt like it was super important for me to get an analysis video to you guys. So before we get to the content, do your boy a favor and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. We bring you NBA content damn near daily, and if you want an opportunity to get your takes featured in the content, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Also, a huge shout out to our latest Mike Mafia soldier, James Gang. If you want an opportunity to get shouted out in these videos, you could check out our memberships program down in the description down below, or just click that join button next to the subscription button. Now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Originally, I meant for this video to be focused on the big 3 of the Brooklyn Nets that features James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant. But I wanted to let you guys know how good Collin Sexton has been this year, and I feel like this is a fantastic opportunity to tell you guys. And we're going to give a brief segment of this video to Collin Sexton because he definitely deserves it. My man, so far this year in 8 games, before coming into this game, has averaged 25 points per game, 2 rebounds per game, 3.5 assists per game, off of 53% shooting and 52% from 3, off of a 20-player efficiency rating. And many people have been sleeping on how remarkably good he's been so far, mainly because, well, he's not playing in a large market, he's playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers. My man took the next step in his development, and I'm really excited to see how his game blossoms from here, because he completely took over in the second overtime. If he continues going the way he's going, is my personal pick to win Most Improved Player of the Year, the NBA this year. Now, of course, this is just a brief little segment on Collin Sexton because I believe he deserves to be discussed a little bit more than how I'm discussing him here, but he single-handedly defeated the gassed Brooklyn Nets Big 3 in the second overtime, and I think that was very much worth mentioning. That was without Kevin Love, that was without Darius Garland, who is a focal point of the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think that the Cavaliers could potentially be a playoff team in the East when they're at full strength, but hey, that's just my opinion. I want to open this commentary up with a very interesting piece from James Harden, because obviously when you're reuniting with some of your old teammates from the beginning of your career, where you spent the opening of your career with a future MVP when you eventually became an MVP yourself, obviously you're going to get asked a lot of questions about it. So when James Harden was asked on his relationship with Kevin Durant and what's different now, he had this to say: "We were young in OKC. We're grown men now. We know what we want. We really know the game of basketball now. We're not those young guys that want to run around and just shoot and dunk all day. We know spots, we know teams' plays, we're significantly more advanced." Very interesting take on the situation because they are significantly more advanced. Guys, I want to give a shout out to Kyrie Irving for all the good he's been doing in the world, and I'm very happy to see by far one of the most gifted and talented basketball players take the court with his brand new all-star teammates. This is a team that I'm very excited about. Even though I'm a hardcore Laker fan and they pose to be a great threat to the Lakers for NBA supremacy, I am always going to be for competitive and exciting basketball. So there were multiple things I was looking for in this game. The first thing is how rotations were going to work. How was the rookie head coach Steve Nash going to make sure that James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant could coexist? What's the initial starting five going to look like? And how are the substitutions and rotations going to work after that? Who's going to be the primary ball handler, and who are they going to be playing through most of the time? Well, if you followed me on Twitter, you'd see I was extremely pleased to see the starting lineup for the Brooklyn Nets. The starting five to open up the game against the Cleveland Cavaliers was Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Kevin Durant, Jeff Green, and DeAndre Jordan. Essentially, the 2011 to 2012 OKC Thunder, only Kyrie Irving replaces Russell Westbrook, and DeAndre Jordan replaces Kendrick Perkins or Nenad Kristic. And the reason I was really excited about this starting five is because it was essentially what I was looking for from the Brooklyn Nets, because it was a fantastic starting five that had the ability to seamlessly play off of each other. You see, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant and Jeff Green are all capable shooters, but you also have a defensive enforcer in the form of DeAndre Jordan that pretty much plays a similar role to what Tyson Chandler did with the 2011 Dallas Mavericks. All he's supposed to do is catch alley-oops, and on the defensive end, he's supposed to be the anchor that ensures that everyone is kept honest and everyone is fulfilling their role. But the next thing I was looking for is who were they going to be playing through for the most part, and it seemed to me that more often than not, that individual was James Harden. If you paid attention to the first half of this game, James Harden only had 2 points. Kevin Durant had 11, and Kyrie Irving had an extremely efficient first half, going 8 for 10 from the field, which is remarkable for 17 points in his own right, which means that they have been playing extremely efficient basketball, although the Cleveland Cavaliers were able to keep it close throughout the game. Now, don't get it twisted, just because Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and Kevin Durant started the game together doesn't necessarily mean that they played the entire game together, because as I was watching this game, it appeared as though the Brooklyn Nets were doing their absolute best to have them play all together for a duration of the game, a very short duration of the game. If I was to estimate, about 15 minutes of the game had all three members of the Brooklyn Nets Big Three in simultaneously. But then I would see lineups that featured Kevin Durant and James Harden, or James Harden running 5 out, or Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, and that's when I really began to become intrigued, because obviously you're going to be seeing a lot of mixing and matching with these rotations moving forward, because obviously the Brooklyn Nets are going to be heavily analytics based now that they have Mike D'Antoni as an assistant head coach. They're going to try to figure out which two of these three rotations work out the best, so the third star could get as much rest as he possibly could. I feel like Kevin Durant is a seamless fit with James Harden or Kyrie Irving, but figuring out what to do to make sure at least one member of the Big Three stays on the court while the other two get their rest is going to be very important. Obviously, this is only my third game watching James Harden as a Brooklyn Net, and my first game watching all three of them together, but if I was to guess how they're going to be doing this moving forward, I'd assume that James Harden will be taking the reins as Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant went to the bench, because it's so easy to build an isolation-heavy attack around James Harden that would definitely keep the Brooklyn Nets in games as Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant got their rest. James Harden had the highest usage in the NBA last year by a mile. As a matter of fact, James Harden has been setting usage records in Houston ever since Mike D'Antoni came to town to coach him in Houston. So I don't imagine it being too difficult for him to take the reins when Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are resting and surrounding him with players like DeAndre Jordan, Jeff Green, Joe Harris, and Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot. But what I also was very impressed by was this team's willingness to get each other involved. Right away, you saw James Harden and Kevin Durant doing whatever it took to get Kyrie Irving going early, especially with all the analysts and NBA Twitter users saying that the Brooklyn Nets should trade Kyrie Irving because he's taking time off for no reason whatsoever. I felt like it was important for both of his teammates to get him involved early on to make him feel like he is a very crucial member of the team. So as for how each and every member of the Big Three did, take a look at this. Both Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving were able to go off for 30 plus points. Kevin Durant tacked on 8 rebounds and 6 assists and had 2 blocks and a steal. KD also shot 50% from the field, whereas Kyrie Irving shot 58% from the field. Meanwhile, James Harden didn't have as prolific of a scoring night. Yeah, he wasn't even able to hit the 20-point mark, but regardless, he as well almost had a triple-double. He also shot 50% from the field, and if you ask me what's the most important part about this entire situation is the fact that James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving all fit in with each other seamlessly, and they're only scratching the surface of their potential. This is an extremely early take because this is their first game playing together on the road against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So let me know in the comments section down below, how far do you think the Brooklyn Nets are going to go? How devastating do you think this Big Three could be? Do you think these 3 stars are going to eventually win a championship, or do you think they need a little bit more? And if so, what is that more? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm going to drop our mic until our next upload.